Hello, welcome to St. Ambrose Academy's first ever Parent Pop-Up. My name is Angela Hineline, and I will be your hostess for tonight's event. I am St. Ambrose Academy's Director of Enrollment, and I am our Learning Services Specialist. So, if you're a parent who is interested and learning more about St. Ambrose Academy, tonight's event is great for you because you can ask questions and you are going to have an opportunity to ask questions of current parents that have children enrolled in our school. Tonight, we're bringing together 3 parents, including myself, to give you a chance to hear straight from us about questions that are on your mind. In just a few minutes, you're going to be able to get to know Lisa Schell, as well as Matthew Gonnering. Our goal this evening is to give you a better understanding of who we are as a school by inviting you to be a part of this very casual conversation. We really do want you to join us in the conversation. So at any point in tonight's program, if you have questions, we just want you to type them in the chat. And our producer, who you can't see, Carolyn, she will send us some messages and we will reply to your questions live. If you would prefer to send us a private message, you can go to our Facebook page and you can also send us a private message and we will answer those as well. So for those of you who are getting to know St. Ambrose Academy for the very first time, I want to let you know some special things about who we are as a school. St. Ambrose Academy is an independent Catholic school in the Diocese of Madison, and we serve students in grades 6 through 12. We currently operate in person out of 2 locations on the west side of Madison. Our high school is housed in St. Thomas Aquinas's education wing, and our junior high is just a few short blocks away on Old Sauk Road. Our 114 students are currently served by a faithful and talented team of 16 faculty and staff, 4 of whom have doctorate degrees and 7 have master's degrees. Our identity as a school is so special, and it's really important to us. And we like to describe our identity as the 3 C's. First, we are Catholic. Christ is everything to us. Second, we are classical. Our students are trained in the trivium and they move through 3 stages: grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And finally, we are close-knit. When you enter the doors of St. Ambrose Academy, you are entering a community, and there is just a very special family feel that you just can't miss. So, that's what I have to kind of give you a little bit of an introduction about our school, but I'd like to dive right in to the conversation part of our program and allow you an opportunity to get to know the parents that we're bringing together for our conversation tonight. And so we're going to start off by introducing ourselves to you. We're going to let you know a little bit about our backgrounds as individuals, as well as a little bit about our family. So I am Angela Hineline. I'm the Director of Enrollment and Learning Services at St. Ambrose Academy. I am a Wisconsin girl. I was born in Appleton. Yeah, I was born in Appleton. I graduated from high school, Burlington High School. That's where I graduated from high school. And I earned my bachelor's degree in secondary education from UW-Whitewater. So like I said, I'm a Wisconsin girl. I have been in the education field for about 28 years, educating in a variety of different settings. My husband, Dan, and I have also been married for 28 years. We have 4 great kids and a grandchild. We our first grandchild just came to us on April 3rd. Of our kids, we have 2 kids that are graduates of St. Ambrose Academy. We also have a 7th grader and we have a little 4th grader. Our 7th grader is enrolled at St. Ambrose right now. So that's a little bit about me. Matthew, Lisa, who's going to go next?
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Ladies first.
Well, I am a Wisconsin native as well, born and raised in West Bend, Wisconsin. I went to West Bend East, the better of the schools, not West Bend West. And I went and I had a volleyball career at University of Wisconsin, where it was an amazing experience. A couple of Big Ten championships, a visit to the Final Four. And so go Badgers. Once a Badger, always a Badger. I met my wonderful husband when we were at Wisconsin. He's in education, which is great. He's the brains behind this operation. And I graduated in art and business. So I have continued my balancing being a wife and mother of 6 kids and also having my own business in marketing and website and social media. And I have 6 children. My oldest is a 7th grader at St. Ambrose, and I have a 5th grader. And they keep getting older, so I have to stop and think. I have a 4th grader, and I have a 2nd kindergartner and a 4-year-old who's going to be in kindergarten next year. And we live in Cross Plains. St. Francis Xavier School is right in our backyard. And we really love Wisconsin. We love this community. We love the vibrant Catholic community. And we just feel blessed every day to be here. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's my little intro.
Yeah. Yay, you. Wisconsin. Go Wisconsin. All right, Matthew, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm a Appleton kid too, Angela. So
Wow.
Born in the Menasha, Appleton area, and went to high school at Xavier. In Appleton, and then to college at St. Norbert. And from that point, I went into business. So I've been in business for 23 years and counting, working in the printing industry and now in the software industry for a company called Widen, W-I-D-E-N. So I've enjoyed that for some time now. And my beautiful wife, Sarah, and I have 6 kids as well. So ranging in age from 16 to 2, it'd be 16, 14, 11, 7, 4, and 2.
Wow, that was fast.
That was really fast.
Yeah, it's a great crew. We're very blessed.
You wrote that down. You have that written on a sticky note.
I say it so often that I run it down. I don't even go to the grades because sometimes I'll screw up the grades. Like, oh wait, is Leo is he? No, he's 1st grade. Yeah, Leo's in 1st grade. So yeah, but that's grateful to be a part of the St. Ambrose community, and look forward to sharing more about our experiences as parents.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, we've got 16 kids and 1 grandchild amongst all of us. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about was how each of us learned about St. Ambrose. It seems like, when you're in a private school, people come to private schools in different, ways, shapes, and forms. And so I'd really love to hear how you learned about St. Ambrose and what ultimately drew you to the school. What was that thing that made you decide that St. Ambrose was for your child, for your family? Matthew, I'm going to let you go first this time.
Yeah, thank you. Sarah and I we were definitely down the private school track. We looked at the private school options that were available. And then I was serving and continue to serve for the Catholic Diocese of Madison Foundation. And Bishop Morlino had chaired that board. And I recall Bishop Morlino talking about St. Ambrose at that point. And then Sarah and I talked about it more because St. Ambrose wasn't in that first line of site for those private schools because there were larger private schools. And so then we took the next step and we started having conversations with St. Ambrose, and we attended a mini session, which was quite remarkable. And I remember it vividly because we were going through these, I think there were 10-minute sessions that you would go into these classrooms, then you'd rotate. You basically mimic a whole day in about an hour. Really well organized, and we would go into these sessions, and Sarah and I I think we were on the 9th grade track because our son Nick was going into 9th grade. And I remember in the session, the professor was coordinating a conversation, a philosophical conversation, and the students were chiming in, but it just wasn't like some mail-in answer. It was really deep thought, and I asked Sarah to hand me a piece of paper so I could take notes because I want to take notes on what the kids were saying. It was because
awesome.
It was remarkable. I just couldn't believe what was happening. And so it was very clear just from watching that dynamic, from the greeting that we got, the sense of warmth, and this really foundational Catholic education that was omnipresent in everything. So once we started to look and get below the surface, it was a no-brainer for us.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. How about you, Lisa?
So I had to ask around because I couldn't recall when was the first time we heard about St. Ambrose. So I did some text messages, and because those are like the blur years. So in 2014, so my Penny, who's a seventh grader, she was 6 at the time. So she would have been in kindergarten or first grade kindergarten. And we went to a benefit dinner, and Father Rocky was the headline speaker. So of course, dynamic Father Rocky, amazing. I think it was at the Alliant Energy Center. And I think we had 5 kids under 6. So it felt like an amazing outing, right? We don't have kids with us. This is a date night. And I couldn't believe how, I don't know if it was because I had not been out in probably years, but I couldn't believe how articulate these kids were. I just kept looking up in awe saying, wow, I hope my kids end up to be this way. How can I help them think their own thoughts? How can I help them look other adults in the eye? How can I help them have conversations and become their own person? So we had continued to attend benefit dinners year after year after year whenever we were able. Either we got invited. I think one year we sponsored a table and invited others. And we really got excited about this school. And, we also knew families whose kids attended there. So we saw them grow up. I saw Angela's kids grow up, and I just thought, wow, they're so amazing. I love these kids. I really hope that for my own children. So when it came time after 5th grade to start 6th grade, it was kind of a no-brainer. We knew St. Ambrose was where we thought their souls and their spirits would be the best nourished. And we never looked at any other place, to be honest. It was, when she was 6 years old, we just felt like this is going to be a great place for her. And it has continued to be a great place for her. So I challenge anyone who hasn't really seen St. Ambrose or wanted to kind of get a glimpse for what these kids can become when they're in high school to attend a benefit dinner. I think that was a great place to just meet other people and hear these kids, hear the faculty. So I don't know. And we had that great virtual one this year, but so yeah, I think I had to turn back the clock to figure out what was the first experience we had with them.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I feel like an old timer here, but I feel like I need to tell my old timer story. So we first learned about St. Ambrose, my husband and I, way, way, way back in 2006. So that was 15 years ago. And we were actually happy with the school that we were currently in. We were in the public schools. I was working in the public schools, and things have been going just really, really great for us. And then I just had some other parents inform me that the school district was looking to make a change with their curriculum in the next school that our daughter would be entering into. And it was a change in the human sexuality curriculum. And I had some people invite me to that meeting. And, I remember for the first time kind of sitting and really thinking about, my Catholic faith and our daughter, and at that time, Heather, and what we felt was developmentally appropriate for her. And as we kind of peeled back the onion on this curriculum, we realized that some of the content was just not a good match for our Catholic faith. There was some content in it that was, kind of went against what we would be teaching at home. And so my husband and I, who had never thought that we would go to private school, we had a hard, long conversation. We weren't prepared, for tuition or any of that sort of thing. And it's kind of funny because it's like God speaks to people in different ways. And my husband, as we were in the middle of this conversation, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We think we might have to make a change. My husband was listening to Relevant Radio back in 2006, and there was a segment on this little Catholic school, St. Ambrose Academy. And my husband came home as we were already starting to look at different schools in the area. And he was like, oh my gosh, I found our school. I found it. Sight unseen. I know exactly where we're going. She's going to go to St. Ambrose Academy. And I was like, what? I have not even heard of this school. And he's like, no, small class sizes. And then there's this classical education. I think you're going to love it. You're going to love, I loved everything I heard. And they're Catholic. But here's the thing, honey, they love being Catholic. And so that was, that love being Catholic was the thing that got us to call the school. Way back then, there were only 32 students in the school. And so that was a dramatic difference from, our daughter and myself, who were in a building with over 400 students. It was just a big, huge difference. And so we spent an entire day. It's almost like what you went through you did, Matthew, but we spent a whole day in the school. I had a little observation notebook. I was going to take lots of notes because, I'm a teacher too. And we were just blown away. And I think maybe what blew me away was similar to what you experienced, Matthew, where you talked about the conversations that you heard between the teachers and the students. And I was super excited as an educator myself by the Socratic dialogue and, listening in classrooms and listening to kids excited to talk about what was being discussed in the classroom and this really cool back and forth and, love the meaty content. It just seemed great. Our daughter who came with us that day, so it was like all three of us went for a full day excursion. She was so excited. But I think what really blew us away was how much the faculty, they loved their Catholic faith. It was clear that the students felt very, very much at home with their faith in the school. And, our goal at that point was that we just wanted our kids to still be Catholic when they graduated from high school. Right. And we thought, I think it's possible here. And really that's what drew us, way back in 2006. And now I can say I'm on my third tour with a child at the school. And they got me too. Like I now work for the school. So this is like so fun to hear each other's stories. And taking a look at my question list here, now that you have a child, and I know next year you're going to have two at St. Ambrose, Matthew. What have you noticed? How has the school impacted your child, and what kind of growth have you seen since they've been at St. Ambrose? Matthew, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, you're right. We have our second will start next year as a freshman as well, and then we'll keep sending them. So, but what we see in our oldest is confidence. That's the number one impact that Sarah and I observe at home, and when he carries himself at work and through other areas, and it's just confidence in how he represents himself, confidence in how he represents his views, regardless of popular opinion. He'll express the view and he'll back it. It's almost like he can get into debates, and he's more than comfortable in that setting. And just to, it's a proud papa moment. Like it's like, oh, that's my boy, that's my boy. Like and it's because of the curriculum, it's because of the teachers, it's because of the peer groups, which is the second thing I would say would be the greatest impact, is the peer groups. And so you have this great community of like-minded parents who are bringing their children here, and these peer groups are solid, and you don't have to you don't have to worry about where you're sending your kid and what circles they might be entering into, which is a great concern as a parent. But I don't worry at all about that. And so the impact on his peer group and his peer group on him is seen. So that's also a great advantage. And so, but the confidence far and away is the biggest impact that we've seen. Even so much so, we had Father Vince over for dinner the other night, and Father Vince was talking in Latin, and he was engaging the kids, and it was wonderful to have Father Vince over. And Father Vince is fantastic, but you could see, like Nick, how he carried himself in that conversation, knowing a little bit of Latin, but how he represented himself, how he returned the dialogue with Father Vince. It was just, I couldn't carry the conversation, but Nick could carry the conversation. So,
well, you're raising someone better than your own, right? That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I just get to get back and be a cheerleader. Like, I'm the best cheerleader. Like, you go.
You're like, I'll just
yeah.
do dishes. I'll just do dishes.
Yeah. How about you? How about you, Lisa? What have you noticed?
Well, okay. So we talk a lot about vocation in our house. What is your vocation right now? Because it's easy to forget, I think, as kids, that our vocation isn't just to have fun and do whatever we want and spend tons of time on video games. So we talk about learning, and we say, you are a student, you're a learner. That's what your vocation is right now. And I really feel like Penny at St. Ambrose has 100% embraced that. Yes, she's a firstborn, and yes, she's female, but she really takes her work seriously, and she is really self-driven. And I think that's a testament to the teachers and what their expectation is for her as a student and a learner. They respect her as a 7th grade learner and keep her engaged, that she wants to set a high standard for herself as a student and learner. And that's been absolutely fantastic from a parent perspective. We're not riding her. So again, I don't know if it's a personality trait or if it's just this amazing combination of how we speak to her and how the teachers speak to her and what the expectation is. But I really feel like her environment encourages her to be the best learner and student that she can be. And I'm excited to see how that excels in 8th grade and in high school and beyond. And also, confidence, I think, is, I noticed that as well, just how she carries herself. She's a very tall person. She's probably the tallest in her grade. Well, maybe Samuel is taller.
I think my son he might be. I think he's taller.
A little bit taller. But she gets that question constantly. And she doesn't slump at that. So I feel like it's the gift of being a learner, confidence, knowing why she was made, why did God make you? To know you, to love you, and serve you in this world and the next. And that is so important. So instead of slumping inside of yourself when maybe you feel different or you're constantly being told you're different, that doesn't change her. So it's kind of turned her into this beautiful budding 7th grader. So I really appreciate what she's learning at school that has caused her to just have this confidence that maybe in another environment she might not have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I said before, Dan and I had goals when we chose St. Ambrose, and one of our goals was that our kids would learn the faith well enough that they wouldn't leave it. And you just know, we do our best as parents, and we're not sure what kind of path or what kind of walk the Lord is going to give to them. But that question about how did St. Ambrose impact your child? Well, for my older two, who are already graduates of St. Ambrose, Heather graduated in 2014 and Justin graduated in 2017. Heather went on to Benedictine College. She did study education there. She ended up earning a degree in secondary education, but it's what happened while she was on campus that was really, really incredible, because she kind of left St. Ambrose as a senior, inspired by the faculty to go into her new college and find a faith network. And so right away, she got involved with Focus Ministry on campus. As she got further in her school year, she was involved with helping put on retreats. She was a Bible study leader, and she met a great guy, and she's married now, and she has her first child, and so they both are practicing their Catholic faith. So for us, that was a big impact, right? We felt like one of those goals was met. Now, our son, Justin, he is a senior right now at UW-Madison. And I felt like the school did a great job preparing him as well to knowing where he could connect with a faith community once he got on UW-Madison's campus. So he connected right away with St. Paul's, with the Focus Ministry there, ended up leading Bible studies. He lives in the Catholic Men's Fraternity House. He's a part of that whole group, which is just really awesome. But Justin is studying electrical engineering, and he's earning a certificate in physics. And so one of the things that the school also did really well is it prepared him for the rigor of, a STEM kind of path, and to be able to go into a STEM career. And so, we were able to see that, goals were met that way. I did say that I'm on my third tour. So now I get to kind of talk a little bit about my Samuel. And I will say, Samuel's in his second year at St. Ambrose, but he didn't really like school at all. Before coming to St. Ambrose, he would prefer to just, talk with buddies all day, or, just play ball all day. He wasn't really motivated in the classroom. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I think Lisa already knows this because she's a friend of mine. I kind of braced myself. I thought, oh, I don't know. Third child's coming in. We'll see how this goes. And, Samuel, it was like he loved everything. He loved, and I keep saying it's like meaty content. He is the boy of all boys. He likes to be busy, but there were Dr. Monaghan's and Mr. Delaney's and Dr. Nielsen's, people who just loved him for who he was. Yeah. He's a funny kid. He likes to make jokes, and they harnessed it. Right. And they taught him how to talk in the classroom and how to engage in a really appropriate way. And it's just so fun to see him love school. Yeah. And to love, you talked about being a learner. I had a kid that didn't like learning, and now he loves it. Yay. He loves it. And also, he had actually math anxiety. He was always worried about math and doing math incorrectly and getting things wrong. And today I said to him, Samuel, what class do you enjoy the most? And he said, I love math. And I was like, oh, well, tell me why. And he said, Mrs. Campanella is a fabulous teacher. He said, she is so smart. When we don't get things, she knows what's happening in our brain, and she helps us understand what is confusing us so that it makes sense. And I thought that is he should go off. He should go on tour talking about, yeah. Because this was a child that wasn't doing well in math and was struggling. And now he's like, I love it. And here's why. I can tell you why it's going better for me now. Just writing and all kinds of other things. I've seen huge growth in him. But he's kind of like my kid, where I kind of went, now we'll see. This will be a true test of St. Ambrose Academy. and I would say that it's going really well. We have actually a couple of questions. Should we dive into a few questions here, gang?
Sure.
Okay, let me see. I probably should have got my reading glasses. So now we'll see.
You're a grandma now.
I know, now I'm a grandma. Okay, let me see here. I think that we had a friend that actually replied to someone. Let me see if I can find that question from Gigi Maria. Okay, here's the question. Thank you very much, Carolyn. Our producer just put it up here for us. have any non-Catholic children attended? Or to ask in a different way, if a family overall loves what they see in St. Ambrose, but would prefer that their children not participate in various extracurricular events. And I'm having a little hard time seeing part of that question.
Particular events like the Walk of Life, how
Okay, I think that,
would...
yeah, sure. I think that maybe that question is talking about the March for Life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of answer yes. Okay, great. I have somebody agreeing with me that that's what they think as well. Okay, so yes, we have had non-Catholic children attend St. Ambrose Academy and have an excellent experience. As far as our school goes, all of our students are required to take basically 6 to 7 core classes, and for every student that does include religion. So all of our students do take religion, including those that are not Catholic. And let me see, as far as various extracurricular events are always an option. Those are always optional activities for parents and families to be able to choose together. So I hope that I answered that question, but Gigi Maria, I would invite you, and perhaps our producer can share my email or an email address with you. But I would love to chat back and forth with you more about those questions, just in case I didn't answer exactly what you were hoping that I would answer. And let me see here. Carolyn, do we have any other questions that are popping up? Oh, Heather is an amazing teacher. Oh, I think that's my
Mrs.
daughter.
Jones, yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Jones. Yeah, so 2014 graduate of St. Ambrose Academy. Woo woo. Okay, so we don't have any other questions at this time. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for letting me know. All right, so now that we've kind of talked about kind of impact, do you guys mind talking about the curriculum a little bit? And what you like most about the curriculum of St. Ambrose Academy. Do you have any thoughts on that, Matthew? What do you like about the school's curriculum itself?
I like that it's challenging. I like that it's not some free pass that you're getting just for participation. It is very much a challenging environment, but in a really good way, such that it brings out the best in those students. And so that's my favorite part of the curriculum. And Nick is challenged in some coursework more than others. Just like all of us, we gravitate towards things that we like, and we spend more time in those things, and we are avoiding other things. And so Nick has that same experience at St. Ambrose, but he is challenged in all of those elements, and it is bringing out the best of them. And I think there is a very delicate balance that St. Ambrose does really well, and the faculty does really well at knowing how much to push on certain students and how much support is needed in response to some of that pushing. And so, because for me in the business world, I love that connection, because just like the dialogue that we were having a conversation about before, the Socratic method of discussion, like in team-based environments in the business world, that happens all the time. And so I see that as like we're grooming like future entrepreneurs. And then on the challenging side, yeah, you're getting into challenging projects in the real world, in the business climate, and you don't know how to figure those things out right out of the gates. And so you, with the right amount of resources, with the right amount of foundational understanding, you go into them, and that's where the confidence comes in, because now I've got confidence to go into those things. So that's generally what I like about the curriculum, and I hope it continues to be challenging for Nick, and I hope we don't take the throttle off of that, because it's really doing those students a great favor, not just in the moment, but for the next 30, 40 years of their career.
You know, Matthew, it was kind of making me think about something that Dr. Nielsen, our director of classical education, what she has said is that our St. Ambrose Academy's curriculum is designed to teach students how to be self-learners and be able to teach themselves to figure out how, you know, I'm facing something hard, you know, how do I figure it out? And you know, it makes me think about when Heather was early in high school and we got a bunk bed for the girls' room. And this might not seem like a big deal, but we just brought home a new baby. And I was like, how are we gonna do this? We got to put this together, right? She just got out the directions, and the next thing I know, she's building the bunk bed. And I was like, wow, but watching, our students, right, grapple with something that's a little bit challenging, right? Because that's when we're learning. We're actually learning when things are tough and appropriately challenging, and then having those good resources there to help you. But I liked what you said about that in the real world. Like when I face something difficult, how do I work through that? Who do I lean on? Who do I go to? Right. Yeah. And I'm our learning services specialist. And so, you know what? One of the things that we work on with our students at St. Ambrose is we tell them, you know what? God has given you gifts, but we all have something that is going to be more challenging, right? And how do we get what we need so that we can learn how to do this thing? How do we find the tools? And so I often tell the students that I support in our learning services department, I'm like, you know what? You guys, when you go on to your next thing in life, you are going to have so many skills because you know how to ask for help. When you don't quite know something, and you're learning how to get the answers that you need. And I think that's a really cool part of what's happening too. How about you, Lisa? What do you like about the curriculum?
So I kind of think about it like exercise. So how do you get stronger? You need to work those muscles. And I feel like the curriculum at St. Ambrose exercises their brains. It's constantly being stretched. It's constantly being activated in all different ways. So Penny will bring home note cards, which is kind of a traditional way of like rote memorization. And I will actually be learning with her, which is amazing. And it'll kind of bring me back to some high school courses, maybe some history that I totally forgot, and it kind of reignites that. Or she'll spout off a Bible passage because she had to memorize 17 to 20 lines for recitation, and she can say it stoically and not sounding timid. She's just got that confidence of speaking and memorizing something. She also is learning how to speak to what you were saying, Angela, to advocate for herself when she doesn't understand something. We don't solve her problems here. We say, okay, it sounds like you need to talk to your teacher about that. It sounds like you need to email your teacher. It sounds like you need to call your teacher, set up a Microsoft Meetings or Go Meet, whatever that platform is that they use. So it is learning what her style is, pushing her brain muscles academically and getting them fit. So as things become more and more challenging, she's done that hard work. She's done like, the 5-pound or 10-pound weights. So in high school, she can do like the 45, or maybe she can lift the bar. So that's something that I really appreciate. Oh, and the reading. So we have a reader, which is amazing. I wasn't a reader, and I've never wanted that for my own kids. I wanted my kids to love reading because there's so much great stuff in literature. And she will often say, oh, Mom, we're almost done with this book. It was like Tom Sawyer's Adventures. I think you should read it. And I thought, oh man, I think I read one page and thought I might need some guidance on this book because I'm not really sure what they're talking about. So it's like a love of learning, but then also sharing what she's learning is really a neat dynamic. Because if you were to ask me about the curriculum with a child who isn't sharing what they're learning, I would have no idea. I'm not diving into her books. Maybe I should be, but I think the fact that she's sharing with us, I feel like I have an understanding of what they're learning. And I've just always been impressed, and the teachers are really accessible. Every time we go in for the parent-teacher conference, we have really candid conversations about, sometimes it's not always dynamic or it's not always academic. It's more of the dynamic of the classroom. How are kids treating each other? Is Penny kind to others? Does she interrupt? Does she talk a lot? Does she raise her hand? And they're really open with how they're developing in their spirit and as a person. And that's often things you don't see on a report card. And I appreciate how the care that they take in that. And I know, Angela, I know you as a friend, so I know you care about that, but I also see all the faculty caring about their spirit just as much. So my mama heart is always pleased when I leave those meetings.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, what about extracurriculars? You know, a lot of people want to know, you know, we've talked a little bit about, you know, the curriculum and faculty and teachers, things like that. But you know, our students, they like their life outside of the classroom too, you know. And actually for a lot of our students, you know, they work hard during the day, but they're looking forward to that thing that they're going to do after school. So you know, Matthew, now Nick, he's involved in quite a few extracurriculars. Can you talk about, you know, what you've seen with the extracurriculars at St. Ambrose and Nick and what he's been involved in?
Yeah, three sport athlete. He's been involved with cross country, so he runs the cross country team for St. Ambrose. He also plays basketball in the co-op team. So St. Ambrose co-ops with Abundant Life Christian School. And that's an awesome connection for those two schools to come together for basketball. And now he's doing golf. He's just started a golf season. So it's I love the sports setting in a smaller school, because I get to see Nick get opportunities like at the JV level, at the varsity level as a sophomore at St. Ambrose. He's getting time in a varsity basketball game, and it's another one of those things. Like, here's a huge challenge. There's like this 6'6" guy that you got to guard. Like, well, sometimes that's just the way it goes. Like, yes, step up. Like you might get that big, but so I love the dynamics of that, the opportunities that provides, because that was a big deal as an athlete in high school, or a wannabe athlete. I played the sports, but I wanted to make sure that, you know, my kids had those opportunities, and all those opportunities are available for Nick. And Nick signed up and he's participating, and he's got great friends as a result of those co-op programs. And so we're very pleased with the extracurriculars outside of just the great curriculum itself.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I see another question here, so I want to give some time to. I see there's a question from Ryan, and he has a question about the classical education methodology. Seems like something that works well for some students, but would be challenging for others. What support is there for students who struggle academically? And you know, it's possible that, Matthew, you could weigh in after I talk about it a little bit. But one of the things I'm really excited about is that at St. Ambrose Academy that we have a learning services department. And our learning services team, what we do is we specifically take a look at our entire student body and work very closely with faculty. We communicate with parents, because, you know, every single student is a learner in our school. You know, however, you know, sometimes, you know, a student is just struggling in a particular content area, or you know, it could be that they're a student that needs extra support with reading comprehension. We have students with dyslexia that attend St. Ambrose, and they receive specialized support for dyslexia, but then they're also working one-on-one and in small group with me and others to receive the support that they need to learn that content in a way that works really well for their brain and their learning style. And so that is something that our school, we're really proud of. You know, we really take a look at each student as an individual student. As a faculty, we talk about the kids in each grade. You know, it's you know, sometimes it seems like an almost daily basis. And then we strategize to make sure that those students get the support that they need to be able to learn the skills that they need to learn. And so that kids are growing in confidence. So I think that that's a really, really good question. And one of the things that I want to tell everybody is that next year, we are actually bringing 2 more faculty members into our learning services department. So we are actually increasing the number of team members that are going to be on site and providing on-site daily support to students. And so because I work with students, what that looks like is I have kids that just walk right into my room in the morning, right? And they sit with me, they ask me for support in any course that they need help with. However, I do want to emphasize that our faculty, they are always, touching and looking for those students that might need support, bringing them into their offices during study hall times, setting up times with them before school and after school. And so it's really kind of something that we as an entire team are really taking a look at that whole learner and trying to make sure that kids are feeling really good about how they're working through the material. And so I hope that I've answered your question. And I should make a note that, and I think that Lisa sort of alluded to this a little bit, is that school isn't always just academic, right? It's also a place where you're learning social skills, where you're learning about, how to get along with others, how to have great relationships with other people. And so when Lisa was talking about their hearts, we're also looking at those things too. And we want to make ourselves accessible to them. So I hope I answered your question, Ryan. If you have more that you'd like to ask, please do so.
Can I chime in just for a second, Angela?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think out in the world, I think there's this really common misconception that every child that attends St. Ambrose is like this 30 to 36 ACT child. And that's not the case. It is not for only the brilliant kids. It's for kids that want to be challenged, yes, that don't shy away from hard work, yes, but there's also a place for kids that may have some learning challenges. And I mean, getting to work with you, you're an amazing teacher. You care about the spirit of every child and their learning differences. So if there's one thing that people take away from tonight, is it's for many children, not just those that are so academically sound that they're taking college classes sophomore year of high school. That's not it at all. There's a place for kids at St. Ambrose.
And I have to tell you, and I wish that one of my groups was listening right now. Maybe one of them will be, but I have a group of students that I work with. We are in study hall together, 3 times a week, and they are my favorite group of kids. And the reason why they're my favorite is because it's kind of like what I was talking about earlier. They know what they need help with, and their assertiveness skills are so fantastic. They get together as a little group, and right now we're the freshmen and sophomores are reading the Fairy Queen, and I walk right in the room, and they're like, "Mrs. Heinlein, this is what we're working on today." So it cracks me up because they tell me what I'm doing, and actually that's how it should be. We should be supporting kids in such a way that we start to help them to figure out what they need so that they know how to ask for it, right? And so they know, they totally, and that's a big thing because that's a skill that you're going to need in any work environment and any future school environment, is to know how to advocate for yourself and know that God made you perfectly the way that you are. Yeah. You are perfectly made the way that you are. And what can we learn from those situations? So I think we had another question. I do want to talk about extracurriculars a little bit more because I know that you've done. Bob Schell is asking, what are some of the bigger challenges the school is currently facing? I think that's a great question. One of the things that I think is it has been a challenge for us this year, but we've embraced it with a smile, I think, is everything that we've done to provide in-person education to our students, to take our faculty and actually divide ourselves into 2 different buildings in order to make that happen so that, we would meet the requirements for social distancing and things like that in Dane County. So that has been a big challenge for us this year. When we look at the bigger challenges, and it's actually an exciting challenge because what we are getting ready for in 2022, 2023, we will be moving into our brand new permanent home. And so we will be moving into a brand new building. And so that big challenge there continues to be, we've got a building campaign going on right now. Of course, it's like the big capital campaign, but getting prepared to move into our final home. And I think that's exciting. It's a challenge. It's a big challenge. It's an exciting challenge for us. And it's something that we're looking forward to. So,
can I just add to that? I think from a parent's perspective,
Yes.
how we see that as a challenge is we need to hold on tight to each other. We need to continue to nurture our relationships. I think after the last year, it's become really obvious that we need to keep our village tight, because when things get hard, we can't fall into our own. We need to reach out and ask for help and advocate. You know, you mentioned being able to advocate and seeing where our weaknesses are. So, and I know there are many parents that are saying, yeah, this is a challenge, but we're willing to do something about it. So I think as a parent community, we're really excited about how we can grow together and become stronger during this transition time. And, you know, we'd love to see more families join us in this, in this transition time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really awesome. I told Matthew, like I've talked to his son so many times and his wife so many times, but this has been my first time really being able to talk to Matthew. And we have a great community of parents. I mean, it's really great. So, you know, not being able to have the same level of access to one another that we've had in the past, where we could, you know, all just talk out in the parking lot for, you know, quite a while. But, you know, the way that we embrace those challenges is that we come up with new ideas, right? And how do we stay connected and continue to build that community? Because it's good for our kids, right? It's so good for our kids. And, you know, maybe one of those challenges too that I'd like to speak to, Bob, is that when you are a private school and you do have kids coming in from a variety of different towns, you know, we always, every year, we have that challenge of how do we ensure that our student body feels like it's still kind of like a neighborhood school, like it has that neighborhood feel, right? Even though, you know, I'm traveling, you know, 35 minutes into school because I live in Oregon instead of in Madison or what have you. And so that is a challenge that I think that we work really hard, you know, throughout the school day to keep those kids connected and to build relationships with kids, but also, you know, finding ways to make sure that extracurriculars are accessible to all of our kids too, right? We want kids that want to pursue extracurricular activities to be able to be involved in those and to have regular ways to connect outside the classroom as well. Lisa, Penny's done a few extracurriculars, and I think you've helped with one as well.
Yeah. So I coach volleyball. Last year, was it have been 2 years ago, Penny's sixth grade year. And we had a team of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Because of just the smaller grade levels, we weren't able to have a full team of just 6th graders. And the challenge was, as 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, we had to play 8th graders. So I had kids that hadn't never even touched a volleyball that we were playing against 8th graders. So our challenge was, we're playing at a very high level of volleyball with fewer fundamental skills. We haven't had as many hours playing, but hey, we took every challenge and we grew as a group and a team. And, you know, we pray before practice and we call on all of our skills for that particular game. So we grew as a group. I wanted to speak to what you just mentioned about keeping tight-knit and making extracurriculars available. So when we had the volleyball team, every weekend, so we had moms that would take kids straight from school to practice all together. So we had volunteers taking care of that. And then on the weekends, we would have parents that would offer up time to carpool. So it was like we knew it wasn't easy for everybody. And everyone stepped up to say, okay, how can we help? And that's really unusual. I mean, I think sometimes as parents, we just want to sit back and just say, oh, someone else will do it. But, you know, I was willing to coach and we had people willing to drive. We had people willing to offer snacks or whatever it might be. It felt like we were fully supported with no matter what we needed. And especially the principal, Scott Schmeezing, made it possible to facilitating practice times and working out uniforms. And so for this little middle school volleyball team that we kind of threw together last minute, it felt like it was just part of the school.
Awesome.
And also Penny did participate in the musical her 6th grade year. She took the 7th grade off, but we went to it and it was fantastic. So amazing. I think she wants to be a part of it next year, of course. So yeah, that's the extent of our extracurricular so far, but I think we all kind of got ripped off this year a little bit.
Well, and it was so good to hear, how many things that Nick's been involved in, because, even though we've been under, kind of this working through COVID and trying to do extracurriculars in a safe way, that they've happened. And, because I'm on my third tour, I've got a lot of extracurriculars to talk about with my kids, cross country, both of my kids, they would have loved to run cross country with, like Nick, but they both ran. Heather and Justin ran cross country. Heather played soccer. Justin played basketball. All three of my kids, okay, the musical, that's like we kind of call it the family business. I am the director. So, there's a little bit of weight on that, but we all love it. We're a musical family. We love the musical. But my son, Justin, was really involved in Model UN as well. And that was really fun. He loves to debate. And I bring up Model UN because we have a debate team as well. And so that was just like, for him, somebody who liked to argue and debate and things like that, that was just kind of like a great place for him. And forensics had that going on. And also Guardians for Life. We have a pro-life group at our school as well. And my two older kids participated in that. And so, my kids always felt like there's just so much to do. And I think the cool thing from my experience is having coaches that were faithful people. And I just even remember Heather's cross country experience, and she had the opportunity to run at state her junior year. She qualified, and it was super exciting, but like, every single race, she was just offering it to God, and she was really encouraged, to make that, to kind of, work on her relationship with God in that thing that she loved to do. And so I think that's something special to note. Let me see here. Any other questions? If you have any questions, feel free to chime in. We're kind of getting to the end of our program, but I have another question that I want to ask both of you. Okay. And that is, and I don't know if I want to give you say it in a sentence or something like that, because that'd be a good challenge. I don't know if I want to do that to us right now, right? That feels very challenging. But what is one thing that you feel like a prospective parent really needs to know about St. Ambrose? What do you think? Just one thing that you think that they need to know. And what would you say is the Ambrose advantage?
I can start if you don't want to, Matthew. Okay. I think that it's important to know that because of the smaller class sizes, because of the dynamics that the instructors have with the students are forced to be engaged in the conversation, in the learning, which I think in certain temperaments, that's really important to be able to crawl into someone's head and really provoke them to be a participant. So again, I'm being brief, right? I'm just supposed to say it in one sentence.
You can have more than one. If you need more than one, you can have more than one.
I can have more than one. So you're forced to really participate in that conversation. And then, the student must do the work. I think, and I'm learning this about middle school and high school, we can't really have our hands in as much as we do in maybe elementary school, because we're doing more hand-holding. And the teachers help raise that bar for the student to figure out what work they need to be doing. And that is, I don't know if that's every school, but I found that to be true for St. Ambrose, that the kids really have a major responsibility. And I think that's fantastic, because to Matthew's point, we're teaching them how to be workers. We're teaching them how to advocate for themselves. We're teaching them how to problem solve. So it's not just we're training them right now. We're training them for a future, because they're going to be on their own someday. They're going to be leaving our wing and leaving our nest, as Angela, you've seen with your kids. And to be able to give them the skills, I feel like St. Ambrose really helps prepare them for leaving the nest, which is it's a really sad thought, but it's important to feel that they're going to have skills. They're going to have some skills, right? Hopefully.
Absolutely. Skills, many skills. Yes. And what's the Ambrose advantage?
Oh, that's hard.
Okay,
Matthew, you go
we'll
first.
come back to you. We'll come back to you. All right. So what would you say to a prospective parent, Matthew?
Yeah, I think it's readying your children to be the next generation of leaders. That's the most important thing. Like it's challenging, yes, but it's got all the support network that you need. It's the place where you're going to be welcomed by a community of parents and families with shared values and faculty that is ready and willing to meet your child where they're at, but not leave them there, advance them. And again, it's the next generation of leaders is how I think about it. Like that's what St. Ambrose is doing for all of these students. And so I think the Ambrose advantage is something that is more about the soul. It's more about the nurturing of the soul. It's
That's
more
what
of,
I was going to say. You took my
well,
answer.
that's my wife's answer. So I'm speaking for us. So Sarah and I, but Sarah would really say it's about the nurturing of the soul. Like this is not just an intellectual game. This is not just a physical game. This is a battle for the soul. And so who's going to nurture it? We got to nurture it at home, but we also need to make sure that every person that our children interact with along the way is intentionally nurtured for the well-being of their soul to the ultimate destination.
Very well said. That's absolutely. Our kids are out of our house for 8-9 hours a day. And are we surrounding them with people that care about their spiritual side, that care about their well-being, are nurturing them, are wanting that bar to be high at every moment with how they're interacting with peers, how they're speaking to their elders, how they're, when they go out on that service day, how are they interacting with the general public? How are they talking to elderly people at the senior home? That stuff really matters. And so when they're outside of our nest and not under our wing at that moment, who's guiding them? Is it someone that really cares? And I really feel like it's absolutely, I haven't seen it any other way. So that to me, and I didn't mean to steal your answer, but that was really well said, Matthew, of just that relief that you have on a day-to-day basis, knowing that they're in a really great environment for them as a human development, right? They're growing as a human.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you. You know, when I think about the Ambrose advantage, you know, I told you what our end goal was for Heather and Justin. Dan and I were just like, we just want them to still be Catholic after they get through college. I mean, I know that seems like, but they are, right? They are. And so, you know, for us, the fact that Christ is everything, that's for the C, that first C is we're Catholic, and that's the first thing. And I think that what should prospective parents know? We are who we say we are, right? Our school, our mission, our core values, what we present to you, you know, we are who we say we are, and we, you know, we know that you're going to find us to be a really transparent school. Let me see here. It says there's a comment here. Carolyn's having me. I think Athena Lyons is a parent, and she wanted to share an Ambrose advantage. She said that I love that it teaches our kids to think. Their peer groups are stellar. Okay, wow. You know, we all want our kids to have great friends, and yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, I know that 10th grade class, it's an amazing group of kids. And, but also there's an 8th grade class there too, that one of your other kids is in. And it's like every class, we're like, oh, I like this class. Oh, I like this class too. And, but yeah, having that great peer group. Well, we are to the end of our program. Is there any last bit of advice that you have for parents out there? Lisa or Matthew, anything that you want to share with them at all? Any parting words from either of you that you'd like to share?
Register. Sign up. Like you got to be a part of it. Like get in the game. Like this is, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Like
what's the delay?
Participate, engage. Yeah. You're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. Yeah, so that's my bit of advice. Like let's go. I'll see you in the drive-thru, or see you when we visit the school. Like it's where it's you have to experience it. So if those mini sessions, I guess that's those mini sessions, like participate in that, go through that. That's a great exposure, but don't delay. Sign up, register.
Yeah, and I think with that, right now we are inviting parents and prospective students to come to schedule a parent tour. You can schedule a parent tour at any time. You can simply go to www.ambroseacademy.org. You can go to our contact us page, and you can actually just send an email that would be directed to me. I'm Angela Hineline, the Director of Enrollment, and I would be very happy to set up any kind of tour for you. You heard me talk about a full day tour. I had to have a full day tour. Most parents do a 2-hour tour, but you can sit in on any of our classes, and we would be happy to sit down with you and answer all of your questions one-on-one. We also are scheduling shadow days for prospective students, and it's a great opportunity for a student that to just spend an entire day in our school, going from class to class, and also experiencing a peer group that they could be a part of, and that's just really positive. Lisa, did Penny do a shadow day?
Yeah, she did do a shadow day. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she enjoyed it. And the students are really used to having kids shadowing, so they shouldn't feel, that incoming students shouldn't feel intimidated, because I think the kids are used to involving a new student into their day and making them feel a part of the day. I think I just saw my husband said, or Bob Schell commented, that Penny is always talking about her teachers all the time. And every single one of them, tidbits, so-and-so has the best outfit, so-and-so is so funny. Wow, I loved what this teacher said about this subject. So it's like a really amazing dynamic from school to home, their spirit to home. And I'm with Matthew. What are you waiting for, right? Call, schedule, talk to other people. Like, what's holding you back? And I know, Angela, you're very candid with people. If they have concerns, I know you'd shoot straight with them. And I think that's important for people to understand. You're not going to fluff them. This isn't a perfect school. We have issues, right? Like any place. The kids aren't perfect. They still are kids, but we still feel like this is the best place for them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Lisa and Matthew, I have to thank you very much for sharing your evening with, prospective parents, people that were listening, learning more about St. Ambrose Academy. I just think that it's our parents, really. We just have a great group of parents, and I think you guys, both of you, represented our parents so well, and so I'm so grateful to both of you for spending this time, and for all of you that were viewing today, just one last, feel free to give me a call, contact us, and we want to thank you for joining us this evening, and I wish you all the best. Good night, and God bless you.